In his latest column, Optimism in the Age of Trump, Univision anchor Jorge Ramos writes, quote, as many as 8 million undocumented immigrants could now be at risk of being deported, not just those whom Trump has called bad hombres, unless he believes that all 8 million of these people qualify for that term. Joining me now is the anchor of Univision, Jorge Ramos, the winner of 8, count them, 8 Emmys. Jorge, this is a terribly sympathetic set of circumstances. Mother of 3, they're American citizens. Some are watching and they're saying, yes, but she did break the law and she also pled guilty to using a fake Social Security number so as to gain employment. What do we do now?
Well, I mean, the rules are changing. The way you presented it is precisely right. Let's put it in context. Barack Obama was the deportator-in-chief. He deported more than 2.5 million undocumented immigrants in this country. But now it seems that Donald Trump wants to be the deportation czar. And what he has done is just to change the definition of criminal. Now, according to the LA Times, they estimate that about 8 out of the 11 million people living in this country could be deported. Among them, of course, Ms. Vizguerra. Among them, Guadalupe Garcia, who was living in Phoenix, Arizona after 22 years in this country. She's just a mom. Ms. Vizguerra is just a mom. And let's not be naive. Yes, they've been using fake IDs. They've been using fake Social Security numbers, fake driver's licenses. But we are complicit in this. They are doing it because of us. They come here, I mean, they don't come here to go to Disneyland. They don't come here to kill American citizens. They come here simply to make our life better. They are harvesting the food that we eat. They're building the homes where we live. They're babysitting our kids. That's why they are here, Michael.
I find myself sympathetic to her plight, frankly, as a father of 4, because of those kids. But then I say, Jorge, if the policy is going to be we're going to protect the mother of children who are born here, aren't we then setting a precedent where individuals who come to the United States without playing by the rules quickly have children so as to protect themselves?
Well, these are the numbers, and this is the reality. Right now, there are about 11 million undocumented immigrants in this country, and by the way, there's no invasion. For the last 5 years, the number has been stable, and more Mexicans, by the way, are leaving the United States than coming here. But also, there's 4.5 million U.S. children born in this country who have at least one parent who is undocumented, and that's the real tragedy. The AP story that Donald Trump wanted to use the National Guard to deport immigrants is not true. The White House said it is not true, but it feeds to the narrative that Donald Trump is getting ready to mass deportations. I think the solution is not to punish these kids or their parents. Again, they're just moms and pops.
But maybe
the solution is to find a legal way for them to stay in this country. They're not criminals or terrorists, Mike.
Maybe President Trump is crazy like a fox, because if he's watching, he's hearing Jorge Ramos talk about increases in self-deportation. People laughed when Mitt Romney said that, but all of a sudden, maybe if he rattles the cage in a couple of high-profile cases, to use that expression, then all of a sudden you will have people leaving the country without the U.S. government having to do anything.
Well, but the fact is that it isn't happening. I mean, I've talked to many immigrants in the last week, and what they are feeling is fear, but they're not going back to their countries of origin. I mean, I'm not seeing buses and airplanes filled with immigrants getting ready to leave. As a matter of fact, what I'm seeing is, which is very sad, I'm seeing children going publicly on TV and with attorneys trying to save their parents. Look, we are living in a country in which children have to defend their parents. I thought it was the other way around. I thought it was not the children of Ms. Vizguerra defending her, or Jersey Vargas. I talked with her yesterday. She's a 13-year-old who's trying to defend her father. She's even went to Rome to defend her father. So that's the country where we're living, in which children are being forced to defend their parents. That's not supposed to be that way.
One last aspect, very important of this case. Ms. Vizguerra right now is in a church, and there are across the country a growing number, many as 800 right now, that are saying, we will give you sanctuary. You know that the law doesn't protect them. It's really the optics and the public relations that protect them if they're in a church or a hospital or maybe on university property. What do you see happening for those who seek refuge in a church like this woman?
I don't expect ICE agents getting into the church. It's a tradition. I know exactly what you're saying. It's not the law. They can come into the church and arrest Ms. Vizquera and deport her back to Mexico. But I don't think that's going to happen. But then the problem here is that people who are not terrorists, they're not gang members, who are not criminals or rapists, as unfortunately Donald Trump said when he was a candidate. They want to deport all these people, and why? I mean, they really are needed for the economy. They really are paying taxes. They really are doing the jobs that nobody else wants to do. Donald Trump has the historic opportunity to be like Ronald Reagan, not with the Electoral College, but he has the opportunity. He controls the White House. He controls both Chamber of Commerce. If he really wants to make a change, if he really wants to show his big heart, as he says, okay, show it, Mr. Trump. He can legalize the majority of the 11 million people in this country tomorrow if he wants, but he doesn't want to do that.
Final point. You and I can agree that were she not a mom, and if she were a bad hombre, we'd want her out of here, right?
Sure. Yeah. I have no problem with criminals.
Okay.
But the way Donald Trump is presenting this, he's criminalizing the immigrant population. I can't believe that a president who's the son of an immigrant, the son of a Scottish mother, the grandson of a German immigrant, married to a Slovenian, suddenly wants to close the door behind after those who came after him. That's exactly what he's trying to do. I'm not defending criminals, but it is not the way Mr. Trump is presenting them. The last number that I saw, according to the American Immigration Council, less than 2% of young immigrants end up behind bars, less than those born here in the United States.
Jorge Ramos, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Michael.